Good morning, beloved. This is Pastor Hamlin again. We are Transform Ministries. Once again, back for another snippet. A little topic that's, I don't know if it's near and dear to my heart, but it's something that comes up periodically. I've been hearing pastors recently online talking about the dress codes in church and what we allow, what we don't allow. What is it in your church? Is there a dress code? Does God have a dress code? Yes, God does have a dress code, and we'll discuss it. There are basically two types of dress codes. The biblical one, which we'll discuss, and the one that you impose on yourself. I'll repeat that. The one you impose on yourself. I'll repeat that a third time. Let it sink in. The one that repeats, that you impose on yourself only. Going into the biblical one, go into 1 Timothy 2:9, it states, in a manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel, shamefacedness, and sobriety, not braided hair, or gold, or pearls, or costly array. What do you mean by modest apparel? Does it mean you have to wear a burqa, full-fledged covering, a sheet over your head, and little eyes cut out so you can see where you're going? No, that's not what he's talking about. Is he talking about certain colors, certain styles, from neck to toe, from all the way down to your wrists, so only your hands and your face can show? No, once again, that's not what he's talking about. Those are things that denominations and other religions have imposed on themselves, on others. They have decided that this is what modesty is, and you have to abide by my definition of modesty. Well, what is shamefacedness and sobriety? It is also translated differently. It means modesty and discreetly. What do you mean by modesty? Modesty is mixed with humility. Don't distract others. You don't want to be a distraction for others and distract their worship time with God. Discreetly is basically, in this context, control over your passions. You don't want to be raising your passions, nor do you want to be raising other people's passions as well. What are they talking about when they talk about braided hair? They're not talking about you can't braid your hair in a specific style. No, braided hair in this context, in this passage, is talking about hairstyles in general, talking about outlandish styles, ostentatious styles. When they talk about with gold and pearls and costly array, Paul is talking about specifically about the women in his time who actually braided their hair and mixed in gold strands, gold ribbon, real gold, put in pearls in their hair, costly stones, precious metals, and they used it in their attire. Why did they do this? They wanted to bring attention to themselves. They wanted everybody to look at me. I'm important. I'm rich. Respect me. Honor me. Look at me. Yes, I did say look at me twice. This is not what, this is what Paul is referring to. He's telling Timothy, he's not requesting that you allow this or not allow this. This is a command. This is Paul's command to Timothy and the church in Ephesus. Don't allow this type of behavior. And yes, it does extend to behavior as well as dress. You can behave outlandishly. You can behave in such a manner that is distracting to others. Recently, I was in church, and a pastor stopped and told a lady that she had to quiet down. She was giving all the amens and preach it and this, but she was being very loud, and she was very distracting. It was so loud and very so distracting that it was interrupting the pastor's lesson. So he had to stop it. He had to tell her, you got to stop. You got to quiet down. The enthusiasm is commendable, but you cannot distract others. And that's what she was doing. Now going into Romans, we were talking about distracting others. Romans 14:21, it is good neither to eat flesh, nor drink wine, nor anything whereby thy brother stumbleth, or is offended, or is made weak. This is what we have to be conscious of what is it we do to others? How is what we do, and in this case, how we dress, affect others? Do we dress nicely? Do we dress provocatively? Do we show off more than we should? Perhaps. Now, when a lot of modern people will use this verse talking about offense, and they're not talking about, okay, I don't like that. I am offended. Everybody is offended by everything everybody does. Or put it another way, everything everybody does offends someone. And I'm sorry that's the reality of life. You're talking about in their spiritual life, in their spiritual walk with Christ, mostly of new believers. At this time, the church is new. It's less than 100 years old. The church is new. There's new believers. There's new converts coming into the church all the time. You don't want to make them weak. They don't want to make them stumble, backslide, go back to their old way. There's a lot of things that I don't do, I'm allowed to do, but I don't do. When I'm up here, you see what I'm wearing. I have my jacket, and I'll put that on a little bit later when service starts. But we'll get into that when we talk about my dress code. But I'm also an example to others on how to behave, how to act, how to dress. I'm not telling you that you have to wear a suit and tie, striped shirt, solid tie, gray pants, trousers. I'm not saying you have to do that. I'm saying, well, we'll get into that in a little bit. Don't distract others. Don't make others weak. Don't make others stumble. Don't offend their sensitivities in the sense of their spiritual walk. Now, getting into your dress code. This is the dress code that me, impose on yourself, myself. This is me. This is my dress code. This is the one I afflict on me. I impose on me. I don't impose this on you. I don't say, you have to do that. You have to dress like me. You have to be adorned like me. You have to wear, if you wear glasses, you have to wear ones like me. If you wear jewelry, if you wear a watch, you have to wear, no. That is not what's being said. There are churches and there are denominations that do that. Say, okay, if you don't dress like me, you're not accepted. That's wrong. And that's even wrong biblically, and we'll see that as we go. The way I look at it is, what I impose on me, and it gives you something to think about as well. What would you wear to your friend's wedding? Would you wear a suit and tie? Probably. Would you wear shorts and a tank top? Probably not. Although I was invited to a wedding in Hawaii on a beach for this summer. That would probably be appropriate for that wedding at that time. No shoes, no shirt? Probably not at all. Again, depending on on the beach in Hawaii, that might be perfectly appropriate. How about a polo shirt? Maybe. Jeans and a t-shirt? I probably wouldn't wear jeans, but t-shirt? Yeah, maybe. Again, depending on the t-shirt. Or depending on the t-shirt, and depending on the circumstance, the context of the service. For example, I had my last church, I had a connect group called Leaky Faucets. It was about home repairs. And I was doing some recruiting after service, and I had a uniform that I had for that. Jeans, suspenders, safety orange, safety yellow shirt, t-shirt. I wore the t-shirt. I didn't wear the safety yellow, but I wore another t-shirt because the safety yellow, for me, would be distracting, would cause attention to me. So I wore a gray t-shirt instead. Now, I have the resources to get a suit and tie. I can go out and buy a new shirt. I can buy a new suit if need be. I can get a new tie. I can get a nice tie, an expensive tie if I want it. I can do the shirt. I can do the pants. I can get nice. I have the resources to do, and I have the mentality to do it, to desire to do it, because I'm in the house of God. Yes, I dress this way because I am in the house of God. And two other reasons. As a leader in this church, there's an expectation from my leadership, those that I report to, that I dress nice. And I have an expectation of the congregation that I dress in a way that is honorable to God. Those who can't, those who don't have those resources, don't judge them. Please don't judge them. If you don't know a person's circumstances, especially in these times, people just don't have the resources to go out and get nice stuff. Look in James 2, verse 2. For if there comes into your assembly, into church, a man with a gold ring and a goodly apparel, and there come also a poor man in vile raiment, verse 3, and ye respect him that weareth the gay clothing, and say unto him, sit thou here in the good places, and say to the poor man, stand over there, sit there under my footstool. Don't treat people differently because of the way they dress. Don't give the big donors reserved seating. Don't treat people different. Everybody in church especially should be treated the same. For me, from a logistical standpoint, there should be two sets of reserved seating. One for the pastor and his family that's teaching, and one for the ushers, those serving. The ushers need to be in a certain place at a certain time because they serve a certain section. Those are good. Those are not based on looks. They are not based on means. They're based on necessity, and they're based on the service being done in the church. Don't treat people differently. We're all same in God's eyes, under God's love. We're all under God's love. We're all in God's house. We should all be treated the same. Whether you're dressed in a tuxedo, although probably a tuxedo is probably a little overkill, or you're dressed in rags. We're still there for God's love. We're still there to receive what God has for us. We'll wrap it up by saying a couple things. What is it should we wear? Anything you want? No, not really. Dress nicely, but not provocatively. Here's a cliche that I use. God doesn't care what you wear to church. He really doesn't. Again, as long as you're not distracting. But you should. You should care how you look, how you present yourself. Because how you present yourself, and this is regardless of whether you're in church or whether you're in business. How you present yourself is an indicator of your heart. Thank you. Good day. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification button, the bell, if you want to be notified each week when these videos are posted. And do me a favor, if you've got ideas for different topics, put them in the comments below. And I thank you for coming in, and I thank you for your attention. God bless you. Good day.